let's talk about money. It's a topic that's so often made to feel, well, super intimidating, right? Super complex. But what if the path to wealth was actually simple? In this explainer, we're going to dive into J.L. Collins's The Simple Path to Wealth, a guide that just strips away all that complexity to show a clear, straightforward road to financial freedom.
And you can tell right from the get-go this is not your typical finance book. Forget the dry textbooks and confusing charts. Collins' whole approach is more like sitting around a campfire, just learning these powerful truths through great stories. The idea is to make the knowledge a happy side effect, not some chore you have to get through. And this really gets to the heart of the problem Collins is trying to solve. On one hand, you've got the traditional financial world, which, let's be honest, often feels intentionally complex and scary. It's full of jargon, crazy equations, and this impossible promise of timing the market. But on the other hand, you have his approach. Simple, clear, built on stories, and, get this, the idea that a single investment fund can do most of the heavy lifting for you.
So you gotta ask, why? Why make it all so complicated? Well, Collins is blunt about it. It's not for your benefit. He argues that complex investments are designed to be way more profitable for the people selling them, not more effective for you, the investor. And understanding that is a huge mindset shift. Simplicity isn't just easier, it's actually more powerful.
So the foundation of this whole philosophy isn't some hot stock tip or a clever savings trick. It's a really powerful concept Collins calls FU money. And believe me, this is your secret weapon.
Before we even define what that is, let me just ask you, what's the most valuable thing that money can actually buy? A fancy car? A bigger house? Collins would say it's something far, far more precious than any of that. And the answer is freedom. FU money is having enough capital in the bank to be able to walk away from a job you hate, to negotiate from a position of real strength, to be completely free from what other people demand of you. It is the ultimate power, the freedom to say no. It's not about buying more stuff. It's about buying your own life back.
This whole idea is just captured perfectly in his little story he tells, the parable of the monk and the minister. The rich minister looks down on the monk for living on simple rice and beans, but the monk's reply is so profound. If you could learn to live on rice and beans, you wouldn't have to cater to the king. See, financial freedom isn't just about accumulating more, it's also about needing less.
And look, this isn't just some abstract theory. For Collins, this was very real. It's what allowed him to negotiate for more vacation time at his job, to just quit other jobs to go pursue his interests, and, in the end, to structure his life exactly the way he wanted to. It transforms you from a slave to your paycheck into the architect of your own time. So what's the biggest thing standing in the way of building that freedom? Well, Collins is crystal clear on who the number one bad guy in this story is: the unacceptable burden of debt.
And he does not mince words about it. I mean, this quote says it all. How visceral is that? In his view, debt isn't a tool, it's a parasite, just slowly and silently draining away your potential to build wealth. It's something you have to scrape off with extreme prejudice.
Debt is the polar opposite of freedom. It locks you into a life you might not want, forcing you to work just to pay for choices you made in the past. The path to wealth has to begin with seeing debt for the prison that it is and making a serious plan to escape. After all, you weren't born to be a slave to anyone or anything.
So how do you do it? How do you scrape off those leeches? The path is actually really straightforward. Step 1, list out every single debt you have. You have to know the enemy. Step 2, ruthlessly, and I mean ruthlessly, cut all non-essential spending to free up cash. And step 3, after paying the minimum on everything else, you attack the debt with the highest interest rate with every extra dollar you have until it's gone. Then you move to the next one. It's not magic, just pure, relentless focus.
Okay, so once the debt is gone, now the real fun begins. We're moving from clearing out the enemy to actually building your empire. And the path, just like the book says, is deceptively simple.
Let's just start with a number. What if I told you that you could become a millionaire by investing this much each month? $150. That's it. It sounds kind of impossible, right? Just way too small. But here's the secret ingredient. It's time. We're talking about investing that small amount consistently over a 40-year working life. See, this isn't a get-rich-quick scheme. It's a get-rich-for-sure plan. And what's the result? Well, here you go. Based on the stock market's historical average returns, that simple $150 a month would have grown to over $1.1 million. Think about that. This isn't winning the lottery, it's the predictable payoff from a simple, totally achievable plan.
And look, this is not a trick. It's the beautiful, almost unbelievable power of compounding. Your money earns money, and then the money it earned starts earning its own money. It's like a tiny snowball rolling downhill that just keeps growing until it becomes this unstoppable avalanche of wealth.
Okay, but how do you invest? Where does the money actually go? To get your head around the stock market, Collins uses this brilliant analogy. You have to focus on the beer, not the foam.
So, picture a big mug of beer. The beer at the bottom, that's the real stuff. The actual companies, their profits, their innovations, their real value. That's the part that grows steadily over the long haul. And the foam on top, well, that's just all the noise. The daily price swings, the screaming headlines on the news, the investor panic. It's distracting, it's unpredictable, but it is not the substance.
And honestly, this is why so many people lose money in the market. They get totally obsessed with the foam. They try to guess its ups and downs, they think they're smart enough to pick the next winning stock, and they panic and sell when things get scary. They completely forget that their real investment is in that steady, valuable beer underneath it all. So what's the simple solution? Easy. Don't try to pick one winning bubble of foam, just buy the whole beer. Collins says you should own a tiny piece of the entire U.S. economy through a single, low-cost index fund, something like Vanguard's VTSAX. An index fund is basically just a basket that holds all the stocks, so by owning one, you own everything. You're guaranteed to capture the market's long-term growth. And that really brings us to the end goal, right? All of these ideas, the FU money, killing your debt, simple investing, they're all just tools pointing to one single destination, your financial freedom.
So if you only take one single thing away from all of this, let it be the simple formula. This is the entire philosophy boiled down. Spend less than you earn, invest the surplus, avoid debt. That's it. You do that consistently and you will become wealthy. It's just the simple, undeniable math of freedom.
And so we're going to end with the one question that should really frame every single financial decision you make from here on out. The next time you're tempted by that new car or a bigger house or some expensive gadget, just stop and ask yourself this. What can you possibly buy that has more value than your own freedom?